All right, fellas. So here we are today. Um, as I mentioned on my previous videos, I originally had gotten this door to work, and I literally had to take the door off to work on my dragons right here that I did in forged carbon. And so I kind of just took a time out to just do some artistic stuff or something that wasn't absolutely like necessary to get the car up and running. But that's what I did in between the doors and the snout and whatever. So anyway, in order to have the resin settle in some of the crevices and whatever, I had to take the door off and put the resin on and whatever. And so that's how that worked. So with that said, when I took the door off, everything was done to have the door align with the locking mechanism, and it was fine. So there's only 2 points of contact, which is the 2 bolts that are connected to the hinge inside the door, and then the one up top. And so that's it. My body hasn't moved. This is kind of the major chassis of the car itself, so that didn't move. And so my process to kind of figure out this locking mechanism was up here, I had to add some material to make it come out away from the door. So this is all, again, I had to try to just figure this stuff out because it's never been done before. So there's plenty of holes underneath here that I've tried, just like I see the ones on the top. So I had to figure out, the right alignment and whatever. And so this was also the benefit too of being able to take away the side skirt and how I engineered it. So that way you have access to everything. You have your cooling pipes that come from your radiator. I have access to my turbo, intercooler, part of the wiring harness for the motor, everything, just by removing the side skirt. So pretty cool. I mean, that's how I think about doing things. It's one thing that come over the design, but the next step is making it functional. So that's where I am with that. So with that said, as I mentioned to you, I had to deal with the rear deck. So the rear deck alignment is as follows. So I pointed out like there was a very huge discrepancy right here. So I made an incision. And like I said, I've done that before. So I made an incision here. So now we're all nice and even. I relieved that tension. And so I use these 90-degree brackets. I'll always keep them around different sizes or whatever because they already have pre-drilled holes in them. So you can always use these for screws and then just an alignment of panels. And you can they're rigid enough where when you do this kind of alignment, it's going to be straight. They're not going to flex. So they're going to keep your other pieces that are flimsy in place. So that way you can now come back and glass everything in. So that's why that's there. So I know I can trust this. Remember I told you about that? And so then now this is going to match that. I know it's going to be exacting. This already on its own, because I cut this away, release some pressure. So it's literally almost matched up. And I get it within reason, if not spot on. Like actually that's spot on. So I'm going to go ahead and probably, I can just support something underneath here to get that to be raised in the back and then glass this in again. So that way when the rear deck closes and you pop the button down here to lock it, it'll be a complete match. That's going to transcend into the solution up here for everything to match up. As I mentioned, I got to add some material for my roof scoop. I was going to extend this plexiglass here. So the other piece has already been cut. So it'll be here. So this all should be just smooth, and I can adjust the door however way I want. I still got to make my gutters and everything around here. So I'm still in the game. I mean, I got to make my gutters so that way I don't have to worry about any moisture or water coming in here. So I increased the height down here. So that way it helped out with everything matching up for the door. But because the door wasn't locked in and I didn't want to glass all this stuff in, and then I have to make some changes with cutting and chopping and again rebuilding because the door mechanism has to be a particular way. I went ahead and got started on the door. So this is how I figure out my mechanism. Just got some straps that you typically would use for a muffler system. and it's already, again, pre-drilled with holes. And so just make sure these are strapped and going away from where the latch has to come into play. And once it's held in place and I know exactly where it has to slide in and also be able to free up to come out, because that's huge. This is 50% of the process. You can get it in here, but if the angle is not perfect, it's not going to slide back out. And what I learned too about this mechanism, like it doesn't, once you put it in here, like it'll lock, but you really can't have any restrictions in the way of this or any pressure on this in order for it to release like so. So if so, yeah, I can't give you an example. I hold on the phone at the same time, but that's what I learned about this. And that's why lining this up with the door is just hugely important, to be able to slide in here and literally have this thing clear and then it not have pressure to be able to slide right back out. So at this point, I had to cut my existing one. As you can see where I did it before, this is the same metal piece, but it's underneath the resin. And so it locks in. So the same thing. So now I got to repeat the process, right? So this apparently is the angle that it wants. It wanted to be moved up and away, I don't know, I guess maybe a half an inch. And then it had to go down a little bit to pivot, I guess like this way. So I cracked all that stuff out, right? So now I'm going to go back, put tape over this, over my screws and bolts and whatever, and then glass this stuff back in so that way it affixes these brackets. And so that way it'll be stuck in place, and I'll come back and make it smooth and whatever. As you see, you know, it's not rocket science. So right now it works. So my door closes. Oh, did I move that? Oh, snap. Wait a minute. So right now my door closes. Here the latch. So we're good to go. It's not opening. So now, I don't know if I can do this. I should be able to do it one hand, huh? So I have a switch down here too, don't get me wrong. So I'm just using my wired switch that goes inside the door. Actually, this switch is going to be changed, but I do have another switch that's going to go inside, but this is the one that goes inside. So that's what I'm using right now. This one is not wired right now. I just got brand new ones. I have to replace this. So right now, the door, man, I can't do this with one hand actually, but I should be able to. So there we go. So I think before I glassed it in before, I did this like 15, 20 times just to make sure. Another reason why I use the C6 too. This is a C6 setup. If you guys don't know, if this is your first video or whatever. The reason why I did is because you have an emergency release here. I just use my foot, put your emergency release, you pull it, and hold on. You can pull it and the door should open like so. So I'm gonna need a little bit more adjustment because I should have my clearance. And this is what I mean by you gotta try it over and over and over again, because if it's not just perfect in here, it's gonna stay locked. So I'm 50% of the way. Every time the door closes, it latches and locks. But I gotta have it to where no matter what, it's gonna release. So this is my other switch underneath. So got brand new ones in a box over there because this one kind of got beat up. So that's the way I get sometimes when I've been working on my projects and things get messed up. I just end up buying new ones. So basically that's how that works. The same reason why I got a remote by, was it CompuStar I was telling you guys about? It got kind of messed up or whatever, just working it and being here in the car as I've been working. So now that I'm starting to put everything together and clear things up, I want a new part. So that's going to be replaced. But this is where it works. I mean, where it fits or where it lives. And that's how that works. And so I just want to highlight how that process works. So my door is locked in place. It's not moving. So again, lining it up here. So because this door alignment is so important, I see how I got a gap way up here at the top. And then it gets skinny. Never mind cutting away material, not a big deal, but at least all my body lines are straight. And again, when I add the other plexiglass up there at the top, you know, everything should flow. Now, since my door is closed, see, this is what I'm saying. I don't have my gutters in yet, right? So I don't know if you guys can see that, but if I have my gutters in and my doors open a little bit, it will match the plexiglass to the right, right? Well, actually, it's only plexiglass over there to the right. But if I have my gutters in, I can adjust my door to match that height perfectly, and everything should just go inside. Put my glass right there in the center, and everything should just work. All the rest of this is just body work. I can just sculpt it to fit. It gets kind of tricky down here. See that gap? So my gaps get skinnier, but then I'm coming away from the car, right? So I don't know if I want to pull this back. I mean, that's just a lot. And I needed to be able to see that before I glassed in this area. So all this stuff has to be orchestrated first and then lock it up. And that's why it was so important to look to see if maybe I should just do this door alignment and then get back to the rest of the body. I think I've used this phrase before, but you have to grenade your idea sometimes and just snowball it out and figure out what's on the left, what's on the right that could be affected by the idea in the center. So that way you can see a bigger picture, man. That bird's eye view is huge when you start talking about doing something like this. We were just talking about doing the plexiglass, fitment. So then now that turned into the hatch, and then that turned into the air induction. This air induction is for the turbos that are underneath here, and then the door. So a lot involved. And of course a roof scoop, because a roof scoop has to have some extra material to transcend over to the plexiglass. So, a lot of panels for one design or one conversation right here on the rear deck. And but that's how bodywork goes, or I should say fabricating goes in doing a project like that. Another thing that I did earlier today, I made an incision right here. So this incision I thought maybe I could use by literally coming in with the chisel and forcing this up. That way this bottom stays the same and I don't have to worry about doing anything to the door, because I will not cut into this door. I know my doors are identical. So I try to use straight lines or incisions like that, so that way I can add space, delete space, and not have to re-engineer a curvature or something like that. So maybe I'll try to point something like that out in other parts as I worked on this, but those things that I've just come across to make a process easier. It's easier to just glass this straight line in than it is to make an incision up here, or now start chopping right here, and then you got to worry about chopping right here, and then you got to worry about the gap between the door and this. It's just put a line right here and prop this up, fill it in. It's gonna work. That's it, the end. So just want to highlight that. This is what I was up to tonight in dealing with this this alignment, this whole area.